Guten Abend und herzlich willkommen. Good evening and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight for the press conference of the awards of the Berlinale 70th edition in 2020. We're going to start with the first three awards for the short films, starting with the Audi Short Film Award, endowed with 20,000 euros. That goes for Genius Loci by Adrien Merigot. Please welcome him on stage. So next up, we have the Silver Bear Jury Prize for short film, and it goes to Filipiniana by Rafael Manuel from the Philippines and the UK. Please welcome the director on stage. The Golden Bear for the best short film, Berlinale 2020, goes to T by Keisha Ray Witherspoon from the United States of America. Please welcome her on stage. We are going to be welcoming on stage the winner of the GWFF First Feature Award of Berlinale 2020, endowed with 50,000 euros. It goes to the film Los Conductos by Camilo Restrepo, a production between France and Colombia and Brazil. Next is the Berlinale Documentary Film Award, endowed with 40,000 euros by the RBB in prize money. And the award goes to the documentary Irradié by Hittman from Cambodia, France.
We've seen extremists, both on the left and on the right, emerging increasingly, and I find all forms of racism and xenophobia and exclusion utterly unbearable. My impression is that information is speeding around the world very rapidly, and truth is submerged under this mass of information. We must be with our cinema.
Award of the Berlinale 2020. Congratulations. We're now moving on to the next three awards of the new section, Encounters. We are going to start with the award for the best direction, that this year goes to Kristi Puyu for Malmkruk. So, moving on to the next Encounters Award. Please welcome on stage the winner of the Encounters Award the Special Jury Award that goes to The Trouble with Being Born by Sandra Wollner from Austria, Germany. Please welcome Sandra Wollner on stage. And last but not least, award for Encounters. We would like to ask both directors of the Encounters Award for Best Film that goes to The Works and Days of Tayoko Shiojiri in the Shiotani Basin by C.W. Winter and Anders Edström.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of the inclination that the longer a film, the less that should happen. And the shorter a film, the more that should happen. And so we try to make it about 8 hours of very small kind of moments so that an audience can be pulled along and not get fatigued through the process and can actually be kind of generously led through a day of living inside a film.
We're starting with the Silver Bear for the 70th Berlinale. That goes to a film from France, Effacer historique, Delete History by Benoît Delapine and Gustave Cavin from France. Welcome them on stage, please.
Anyway, there's not so many people who are aware that around each of our small and large cities there are data centers which are absolute energy guzzlers. So one way or another, We need to be responsible and slow down our crazy race towards so-called progress, but actually towards catastrophe. We need to really exercise self-restraint, to introduce limits. People find it okay to drive at 50 kilometers per hour in cities, but are not happy to have this kind of self-restraint when it comes to the internet, say an hour a day or something. It's certainly not at all aberrant, and these are the kind of choices that we all need to make personally, and people need to vote for those sort of choices as well.
We are moving on to the Silver Bear for outstanding artistic contribution that this year goes to the cinematographer Jürges for Thou, Natasha. We have the winner of the Silver Bear for the Best Screenplay. Berlinale 2020 goes to the Italian film Favolacce, to the D'Innocenzo brothers. Please welcome them on stage.
We've had a lovely time here in Berlin, but we've got an absurd desire to go back home and start writing the next film straight away. That's what we want to do. It was I want to do. Whether it's beautiful or whether it's horrible, it really depends. You never make a film trying to attain a consensus. I think that's the most healthy way to deal with the cinematic art, never trying to please, but being authentic to yourself, being true to yourself.
Please welcome on stage the recipient of the Berlinale 2020 winner of the Silver Bear for the Best Actor, Mr. Elio Germano, for Volevo, Nascondermi, Hidden Away by Giorgio Diritti.
I think that the effort that we all make, no matter what kind of job we have, is to try to please others. How should I put this? We try to get positive responses from others. We're all very conditioned by what we want to appear to be like. And in a sense, we waste our time doing that. And the most fragile, most vulnerable people give us a huge lesson. They teach us the huge lesson of freedom. We're talking now about a figure such as Antonio Ligabue, whom everybody looked down on. But we're not talking about all the people in his village who were rich and famous and lauded by everybody. So what remains of our humanity is to be found within people who are fragile, delicate, sensitive. These are people who don't try to be strong and be victorious. That's something that's not entirely human. So what remains really with the quintessence of humanity is in those people. But as you couldn't see it, there you go, that's what I meant. There's Ligabue in there.
Please welcome on stage the winner of the Silver Bear for Best Actress 2020, Paula Bea for Undine by Christian Petzold, Germany.
Yes, I think it's something very special that we're being invited to the Berlinale again with this film. I've known the Berlinale forever, even since before I became involved with cinema. It was this huge festival in the city and loads of people came. I've known it ever since I was small. And back then, people who won Bears were very special people in my eyes who'd made very special films. It's a huge gift even to be invited to be here with Undine, and I'm enormously touched to have won this Bear. And it's so very special to work with Christian, And with Khrzhanovskiy, I mean, actually, it's a prize for both of us, as I said before, because without France, I probably wouldn't have won this award. Because if you're acting a couple, you're so dependent on who you're playing across from. You have to feel confident to open yourself up. And it was like swimming through this film with Christian Petzold and Khrzhanovskiy. It's really a lot of fun.
Coming up next, please welcome the winner of the Silver Bear for Best Direction, Berlinale 2020, Mr. Hong Sangsoo, for The Woman Who Ran from Korea. One could actually say it's a Silver Bear for freedom in directing, because your directing has always been very free.
The way I work is first I decide to start. Sometimes a few days before start the shooting, I'm forced to come up with the first scene or the sequence. And I just have to believe myself then, because I have no choice.
We're moving on to the Silver Bear, the Grand Jury Prize. Silver Bear that goes to Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always by Eliza Hittman from United States of America.
What, the country does to support women, to support mothers, it's very tragic. And at the moment, we are anticipating another Supreme Court case, where the future of Roe v. Wade is at stake. So it's a very vulnerable moment in US history, and we are in a state of political crisis.
I would like you to welcome on stage the team winner of the Golden Bear for Best Film, Berlinale 2020, There Is No Evil by Mohammad Rasoulof. Please welcome the team on stage.
I send greetings to all of you. The film is about people taking responsibility for what they do in their lives. And the most important thing when you're trying to take a decision is how to justify that, and whether the decisions you take are based on pressure from outside of you. And you can try to push aside your own responsibility and pass the buck, in a sense, to the government, and not think about your responsibility. And I wanted to talk about people who push responsibility away from themselves and say that the decision is taken because of higher powers, but they can actually say no, and that's their strength.
Well, that was a wonderful note where to stop with. Congratulations from our hearts, from us all, and all our best wishes to you and all of your team, and of course to the director as well, and we wish he could be with us. Thank you so much, and congratulations. And thank you all for coming and being here tonight with us.